Welcome to our May AMA webinar. When we did the very first webinar, which was in March the 9th, very new. We did the very first what we call SUPERCHARGE, your big success, 2nd of March. Yeah, we had a lot of interest, but people were very scared, skeptical. Fast forward just 8 weeks, we have nearly 460 registered for this one, and I know because of the time zone, we have to work over time zone, but most of them will be checking the recording. So please say hello. Thank you for joining. So it tells you that more and more people are embracing AI. So if you haven't watched our previous episodes, please do watch it, because I'm not going to here say it's important and others. It's done and dusted. We need to live with it now. So and the question is, how are we going to adapt ourselves to this? So there are, as I mentioned, 10 webinars that I did. You can find most of them in our YouTube channel. So 5 at least there. Next, if you missed our YouTube channel, the next option is Baachu Scribble on LinkedIn. So we do post weekly, twice or thrice, a lot more AI updates in addition to other things that we do. If you follow us there, that might be useful. So you could get more updates there as well. Hi, George. Welcome. Good afternoon. Hi, Christine. So, yeah, hi, Nick. So primarily, then the next source is Baachu Connect is our new what we call the Connect family, because we do send a lot of emails. We know we do post a lot of stuff, but like, what can we do just to bring the community together? We haven't created a lot of fuss about it, but we just want to keep going, because within Scribble community alone, we have nearly 4,400, and the number is counting. So and we are just inviting you to join it. So which means we can also share the content there, and we could continue the conversation there, so that you don't need to wait for a month or something. It's just you, friends like you who are there. It's free. So in that way, when any update that we post, it's there, and you can just go from there. And finally, AI Scoop, a lot of people requested us, can you consolidate? Because we have nearly reviewed over 50 AI tools. Last AMA alone, we reviewed 20. And then during bootcamp, we added even more. So we're kind of listing all the cool AI tools, free and low cost AI tools, and what we can do about it. People requested, okay, why can't you make this a weekly newsletter? That's the AI Scoop. So you could have that website. So you could, if you go to baachuscribble.com, there'll be a pop-up. If you wait for 5-6 seconds, there'll be a pop-up that comes up that tells you, hey, do you want to subscribe to our newsletter? And that comes in. It tells you, every week when we consolidate, these are our activities on AI. It also tells you what are the other stuff that's happening. If you don't want, we'll also add that within the LinkedIn forum as well. And the nice summary also goes to YouTube. So we are trying to do as many content as possible through AI. So that's about it. So it's not just about bidding side, it's what are the other side that we can also do. So what did we cover on the April AMA? Again, I'm sorry if you're fairly new. If you're new, welcome personally. I've seen a lot of familiar faces, familiar friends who always join and support us. But if you're new, again, please do check the previous ones, because I won't be going a demo of why ChatGPT or Open AI or generative AI is cool. It's all gone now. So what we covered in the April one, we had the AI impact on jobs, very first, and a massive study. There were 3 studies that we reviewed. It was there. You could have a look. We also gave the link if you joined live. We did this small, what we call a story called Lost Bidders on the Beach. If you go to AI-powered bidder bootcamp, you suddenly see a few minions pictures floating around, and that's the very first webinar that we did, how the wave is coming. And some people will be drowned and other people will be scared. They will run, and the other people will go high ground, but they'll still be like, oh my God, I need to start from scratch again. Whatever I learned so far, I do need to adapt, etc. And some people, they know they are entering the unknown, and they voluntarily put themselves forward to learn. And that number, as I mentioned earlier, was like nearly 40, but today the number is 500, because I think more and more, once the discoverers kick in, the early adopters are coming in, and we are only going to see within the next month or so that number 460 is going to become 5,000 or something. It's going to be, because people are now know that this is here to stay. But kudos to all the people who joined us early on. So we have done 100 of use cases. We rip it apart. We use different tools, not just rely on ChatGPT, Open AI. We just use different tools to just play around it. There are at least 100 different ways that we slice and dice, not just bid work, pre-proposal work, marketing, operational analysis, Excel spreadsheets, you name it. Because you do know we have research company as well. So when we work research, what we can do on research, when we do interviews, customer experience interviews, how do we do that, etc. Because it's not just restricted in how you just do bids. It's now helped so many things within you. Again, we touched a few stuff and just gave you the assurance that everything that you do, you can be AI powered, so that's it. And then we shared how within that 1-2 weeks, there is when ChatGPT opened up the plugins, it just created a flurry of plugins that just went up, and that's the one. This month, the flavor of the month is Google Chrome, Google Chrome links. It's unbelievable. There is this week alone, I think I'll share some of you this week. The Google Chrome ChatGPT plugins have now come up massively, and Bard, Google Chrome Bard also announced that they have coming out with an updated version. It's all exciting time. So again, the question was security. Some different companies are doing different ways. We are starting to work with some trusted sources on AI governance, data governance, how cheat sheets and stuff. Part of the meeting, I think, said, drop me a note or join Circle and put a note there. Otherwise, I'll forget. So we can see, because like it or not, which you cover, everybody's using ChatGPT some form or the other. But your company, IT people especially, might be slightly nervous or what's happening. But again, nobody is actually taking that remit of either it's a blank out, let's stop it, or I don't know, let's wait and see. So I know we have created a few cheat sheets and guidance that you could tell your team, or you could share it with your colleagues over there and say, this is what others are doing, and this is what the do's and don'ts. Just kind of a principle. If you're interested, just let me know on the chat, or drop or join Circle and ask. That's a better way of doing it. And I'll give you a few updates. AI regulation update, which we also covered because things are coming. UK, US, Europe, we covered, and I'll also give you more updates on this week. Again, I did give a lot of comments on that because that was nearly 4 to 6 weeks where people were still skeptical what's happening, and the debate about machine versus humans versus my job versus your job versus X, Y, Z, etc. And I just showed you, it's going to be AI plus human and more. How we can collectively do. And just because bad people do bad things means we should stop this happening, means we should stop everything that we do in life, because bad people are going to do bad things regardless, right? So why should other technology advancement or good things should stop just because few bad guys do bad things, right? So, and by now, you should know the limitations and advantages of ChatGPT or pretty much generative AI, So again, I'm not going to sit and explain. It was covered long time ago, and things have been addressed, but that's where we are. So that's the overarching April. This, as you know, ChatGPT ballooning. Again, a lot of good friends have started generative AI some time ago, but it has clearly given them a boost of having their conversation slightly easy, So you're going to see a lot of good work coming out of it. So primarily, it's all here. So November started because our Versal, which is our tech company, we have GPT-3 for more than a year and a half, but we were doing it morely for marketing analytics, So many of the companies that we work with, like Amazon and stuff, if we go to buy a product and stuff, we do marketing analytics for most of those companies. So especially retailers. So we were doing that when this came up. I was like, okay, why can't we? Because we have individual companies and we never connected the dots. How can we use it for research? How can we use it for scribble learning, bits and pieces? And things start to fall in place. So things are moving fast, as you know, API release, plugin release, and things coming. So anybody heard of William Quarterman? William Quarterman? Anybody? No? So William Quarterman is a student. Again, there was a fear. Oh my God, this is another thing. Because way back in March, I told you it doesn't matter whether the content is written by AI or human. If the end user gets value out of it, that's good enough, So, and many people started to create tools. Even last month when we looked, I did so classifier. how you could check whether this content is written by AI or not. And similarly, it's the student was told that he used this stuff, and then end of the day it got proved that he didn't. And then what happened was it just transpired that within this 4 or 5 weeks, the tools that used to detect this as AI content are starting to lose and start to say this is human content, even though the content was directed by AI, because people are getting more and more good in prompting. People are learning more and more of the best ways to use it. So they are not simply copy pasting what ChatGPT or any other tools relying on that using. So which means it's getting pretty much impossible to direct AI written content. But also, what also transpired is, because we are part of the Microsoft partners and stuff, it also transpired that what we know with this GPT gradually becoming what we call an AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, the prompt engineering that we are talking about. Like, you don't need to give the text. In certain cases, depending on the pattern of what you normally do in the past, it can automatically start to predict. And you have seen that time and time again in the advertisements that's coming to you through any other stuff that you use, whether YouTube or social media or anything. So this AGI is the next wave, and people were saying, okay, you need to stop all the development of AI now because things are going to change in next 6 months. I always told people next 6 months is a long time. 1 day is a long time, right? So AGI is on its way. So again, will AI detection, again, there was a point where, when I was speaking to a few buyers, especially in the UK, they were like, do we need to add a question within our qualification questionnaire? Like, did you use any AI tools to write the response? And I asked them, okay, if they say yes or no, what does it matter? So I mean, we just want to know, because and they are curious to actually implement how they could do AI to evaluate. So again, all these things are things are settling in, but people will put some bottlenecks and stuff, but nothing should kind of stop you from doing what you are currently doing. And again, it's Google at the same time, because if you do articles and other things which with ChatGPT or Open AI tools, then Google was ranking low, but they changed the policy themselves, and they came up pretty much to what I just said to you, which is this is how it happens. So GPT-0, this is the tool that got Mr. William Quarterman in trouble. But again, it was very popular as an AI detector tool. You can use this, and it's quite funny. I mean, it was supposed to say different subjects of. Anybody use GPT-0? Anyone? So yeah, it's you could put any content, you could add any files, and you could check it. But as it told you, the more and more the contents are optimized. So you might can laugh about it. That says, oh, I used AI, but it says it's human, which is good enough for me. So you could double check your content. If you're using AI tools to submit your response, you could double check your content, whether this one tells you AI or human. If it explicitly tells you AI, then you do need to optimize it. If it doesn't, then good job you. So keep moving. We were just talking about this a long time, but I'll before I get in. So as I told you, we need to live by this by now, because you should spend at least few hours every week just to see how it helps you. Since it's been there for nearly 6 months now, I think your prior experience should be at least 50 hours now on doing that. A couple of issues still happens. One is the fact checks, which is like, if you use it to identify sources, then the links that comes out with this not necessarily will be. You do need to be very careful with it, because the answer will be coming out, which could be very persuasive, compelling. But if you ask, hey, what's the proof? Show me the evidence. It will share some of the sources, which most probably doesn't exist. So the second one is bias. Two things. One is predominantly it's North American bias. So for friends in the US, it says it's super for you. But if you're using it outside, then you might need to use like English law, British English, etc., different versions that you're using, ensure that it works. Because when you do it for bids and stuff, it's quite obvious, especially the UK English to Australian English to Canadian English. So you might need to be aware of it. So and then there is a bias on image generation tools, which they are trying to address. So these are still happening. These are still there. And the prompts up, because there are people who are doing prompts marketplace and stuff. I'm not a big fan of it. You give a framework of how to do how to do prompts, but then you just need to bring your own personality for your own prompts. Because if I tell you these are the 50 best prompts for proposal, these are the 50 best prompts for research, etc., not really, because those are generic. You give them a framework. This is how you do, because the prompt engineering stuff is there on YouTube. Just go and have a look. It just gives you high level framework. Anything more is this. So again, people are asking guidance on how not to use ChatGPT and related tools. As I mentioned, if you do need the guidance, let us know. We have created that for a few companies. We can help you to create it as well. So it's just that because the pressure is on, we are getting more and more requests on bidding, which is on one side is good, but on the other side is also not good, which means people are realizing that they could bid more for less. Because in the past you were already busy working 5-6 bids, 1 or 2 bids at a time. Now it's increasing now, and that volume of opportunities is only going to increase because people in their mind will only try to see, okay, now you can use this to do more, let's do more, and that trend, we were expecting it to come from Q3, but it's already starting to hit us on that one. So again, that's where we are. These two tools, anybody using any automation tools for your work? And because these automation tools also are saying that they are connected themselves to the LLMs and stuff. And again, how many of you have used automation AI, APIs and LLMs? Because I've received mixed responses on that. Because yes, what that meant is, okay, I'm not a big fan of Open AI ChatGPT, but Open AI ChatGPT is connected to something else, and I'm happy with the other one. So I don't understand how you could, how you don't like this and you like that. But again, the things people will try to say, now we are also updating ourselves. Again, your best part is as we progress, we are going to go again. This webinar, we are going to do a little bit more, but I thought when I looked at the registration details, I thought there were a lot more new people compared to people who generally attend. That's why this 10-15 minute intro. So welcome, let's get into this. So in the last time when we spoke, people have concerns about, okay, copyrights and other things, where I gave them, you don't need to put any confidential information or anything related to your company inside. You can either mask it, but most important thing is you just need to know what it already knows about you. When I say you, it's your company, your tender, your competitors, etc., and use that context to just see how you could create a baseline. That's this thing. Then you kind of upload the tender questions just to see, okay, if you just use these tender questions in this context, what response you're going to get. That's what's happening. So what happened? A few interesting things happened, and we'll just have a look. You can go in your profile now. And how many of you have left your ChatGPT closed now? You have disabled or you're still enabled? Anybody has still? Because I've still enabled. But have you went on and disabled your ChatGPT? Anyone? So that it doesn't go through? Okay, so you can go and lock based on what you're doing. Again, you can go to your settings, and in the settings, you click your user profile, it opens up this button, and there you could see data controls, click show, and then you could hide it. So in that way, whatever you're adding, say you are sending a message, because most people also use it like me for personal reasons as well. Hey, so write a nice message to my mom, because it does helps you to express a lot more than how you can express, So it just, if you don't want all these things, it comes in. So again, the enterprise B2B version, some people also comment like, and this is not enterprise LLM. It's coming up faster than we anticipated. So we are looking, our APIs is already built, but we won't be launching it until September, mainly because we just want to align with this. But enterprise LLM means that today you can at the moment it's open, but you can now carve out your own thing and you can start to add inputs and you can start to work. That's where the cool stuff happens, because at the moment you are using it to do general basic stuff, but you can do a lot more. So we've used it for more than 100 use cases, and all these things have covered it. So I just want to just keep the chat active. Where have you used it? I mean, like people have used it to create LinkedIn profile, to create CVs, to write emails, to even do create, as I mentioned, respond to some questions and stuff. what are the different ways that you have used it? I mean, like add it in the chat while I continue to talk about the other slides. Please do keep it. And where haven't you added and you would like to see how you would like to see different other use cases, let me know. And I'm happy to show that at the very end. So please do add in the chat, where have you used it so far? Because again, there is no limit here. Creativity is the only limit. You can use it to do different things. That's why the plugins, when it comes up, people are taking one use case and they're doing more and more. Just in the chat, you can just see where have you used it so far and see how far it is. Just keep that going while I continue. Though in our case, we do very, very simple stuff. We don't go and we don't say, people, here we go, guys, we'll go and build up your entire response. People normally come to us and say, hey, you know what, this bit goes in 4 weeks' time. Can you very quickly create a baseline response for us in the next week or so that we could then add our own content, after you did fine tune it and we submit it. So, and we have been using it in very different ways. And these are some of the high level principles how we can use it. Number one is, as I mentioned, you do need to share the context. First, you need to understand, because we have tested it, because you do need to, we also have what we call data aggregators, which means we do monitor a lot of contracts in the UK for our clients, part of the Baachu Rain segment. So we went on and checked how many of those contracts does ChatGPT know who's the incumbent is. We were surprised. We put a sample of 30 contracts. 11 of the contracts, ChatGPT knows who's the current incumbent provider is. So, you might not know, but ChatGPT knows. So again, that's it. So you haven't fed any information. It's important for you to know what intelligence does it automatically know, because yes, the tender, the cutoff point is September 2021. So what that meant is, it's 1.5 years. But again, most of the projects that you are working were let out 5 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago, at least. So, it's, so you never know what sources ChatGPT used to deliver. It's based on internet and anything and everything. But that's the first thing I would do. I'll get to know what's there, what's not there. And then I'll use it as a swipe file. What's a swipe file is, you have to ask. So for example, if you don't know what to ask how to ask. Right? Just to be clear, if you are saying, hey, I want you to write an email to this person, if you don't know how to ask it, you just tell me, hey, act as me, who is a marketer, who's a proposal manager, who wants to write an email to brief a CEO of a project. So you can ask, you can use it to train you. You don't need to, even though I am there and few people are there, you can use it to see how it can help you to train yourself. The second one is, as I told you, you can also, most importantly, use it to learn rather than to go and constrain it by within your knowledge. Or be open-minded and ask what does it know about persuasive writing? What does it know about sales presentation? What do you know about writing a blog? Different frameworks, etc. You will be surprised. And what are the different styles of writing? Not just different styles. How can I keep my tone? How can I, do pricing, different pricing strategies? You can use it. You don't need to learn all those things offline and then use ChatGPT just because you know these offline. If you can also use it. This is where the gold dust is. You could use it to first know what it already knows about what you are doing, and you can also use it to know how to use it effectively. You can ask it, hey, I need to do this. What are the different prompts that I need to use to get the best to get the best information out of you? Just tells you these are the prompt. Then you pretty much use those prompts and you just go with that. Again, these are the stuff that you will get used to it, because again, the prompt that you use on the second time, you'll forget, and use the third time. You're going to learn only by doing it, and that's it. The baseline questions is people have asked how we do that. Again, we don't do any automation yet, even though we can. We have studied over 12, 13 bids now that we have done. We are just testing different sectors, different geographies, and different kind of smaller, larger commercial government type of tenders on this. But simply, you first go over the naked prompt, add the question, first put the context. This is the context. This is the tender. This is the service that's been outsourced. This is my company. This is it, because you're not adding anything confidential. You're just simply letting it know what it already knows. How would you respond as this company? Based on the information that it already has, it will give you a response. Then you go build from there. And if you can add any service specs around it, and then see what's the relevant points, and you go from there. Then you set the character limit, and you also go and add any UK English or specific English, and then you could go. Then if there is anything missing, then you could fine tune it. There is no rocket science behind it. It's you have to create your own framework. We have our own framework, but as I mentioned, I'm not going to add that part of this, because you just need to work your own framework. This is what we call AI optimized proposed model. So we have our own model, and we just use what we have to do. The next one is people always ask, why we don't talk more about automation and tools and others, because remember within Baachu, we have chief execs in Baachu Rain. We have nearly 2,000 people. Most of them are senior stakeholders within UK. We do have market updates, webinars and stuff. You know what? It's there, but you can't jump into AI tools and implementation immediately. There is steps that you need to follow. And this is what we are doing. So, this is why we encourage you to do the same. First, you need to explore yourself. You need to train yourself first, because there will be people around you who will be having a lot of doubts, who might still be not using in the same way as you are using. So, and these are the 3 different phases that we do even before we go and implement AI within a company. And we take minimum 6 months. The first 3 to 4 months is all about ensuring that they have an understanding. Because if we start with an AI tool, we start with, this is our language model, these are the different data, this is how we can train your data, this is the data governance, this is all the stuff. Yes, we can do that. But yeah, it will be a good IT project. But you as a user will be like, what is it? In other way, if you just use it in a basic way and tell people how it's already helping you to do more without having any automation or without having anything big, then you can start to do. So phase 1, it's you. This 40 odd people have become this 470 odd people today. And that's because they learned, they shared and collaborated, and which means there is one understanding. We're using that. You can see on the very first presentation we did, next step is, now you understood it. Now you have to collectively look into see what you could optimize within your own self with AI. So you have to look into, in our boot camps, this is what we do individually. You are looking into your own daily schedule, and you can say how much of this you can use AI to optimize. Once you optimize your own workload, then you can optimize your company's process. Then when your company's process get optimized, then you could implement tools to go for it. Right? Implementing tools to start with that and talking technical stuff is not going to go far, because your IT, they need a lot of assurance before they even go for it. For that to happen, first you learn and train yourself, then you share and collaborate, and then you take it further, because this is how it goes. That's why, because by the time more and more people's questions are being raised, more and more privacy, confidentiality, copyright, and all those issues are gradually being addressed. And government regulations and stuff are also going to pop up, right? It nicely takes us this. US obviously have just started the discussions, whereas European Parliament today have already given the green light to the AI Act. If you want to know what the AI Act is, go and check AI Act in the European Parliament notes. It's unbelievable. Again, those guys will dictate how the world is going to regulate AI. So in the it's there. It's within the next month or so they're gonna take it to the other member of parliaments, and they're going to ratify it. So again, it's a much larger one, but it's important for you to keep tabs of what one, how you can help your company to create an AI risk framework. I already shared a few stuff last AMA, and also we'll continue to share the wider regulation at a high level next week, which is May 16th. You have Open AI CEO and IBM's. There only 2 people have been invited to testify in the US, and they're going to talk about it. Immediately after this, they are going to join the drinks of the Senate committee. You can see how strong this regulation is going to be, or how long this is going to take. Whereas in UK, it's UK proclaimed it to be the superpower of AI last year, and they will be very, very open, and the consultation actually ends on the 21st of June. It's already open. You could go to UK Gov website and you could add your inputs. But by the time those guys get the white paper, and then it gets converted into all other papers to go to Parliament, I don't know when we'll have a new government, and we have to see. But European Union, keep an eye on it, because that's where things are going to work, and everybody is going to use that. They've already defined what are the different risks. So what's an AI is, what's an LLM, and different other elements. It just goes in. But in your organization, and again, this is how we talk. We are planning few elements, and this is what we are creating in one or two front runners in AI. And if you do consider adopting AI to spread forward, again, this could be for decision makers, might not be for everybody. Like these are the two layers. Your company might already have an enterprise risk management framework, because that should be there, and you just need to align it to enterprise risk management. Your company will already have an ethics board or committee, and again, AI should be part of ethics board committee. Again, this will happen at its own time, because many countries are going through recession, inflation, and other things. So they are just sitting on it, but very soon it will happen. But there are two things that you need to create. One is AI Center of Excellence. One is, who's going to be part of this? You're a data scientist, you're IT people, yeah, definitely, but who else? You just need to define how that's going to work. Second one is AI governance. Who is going to sign off this? And at the very basic level, you just need to create those two functions, and you just need to then move on to see how you're going to go from there. So, and that's a kind of high level lecture. I know by now you'll be like, oof, bored. So let's look at some cool tools. Descript, this tool, we use it. Again, we are going to create a 1 hour workshop on this, because we really love this tool. And this is an all-in-one tool. So look for Descript. Anybody using Descript at the moment? Anyone? Yeah, it's a very good tool. So if you are attending, again, it's say, for example, if you're attending a client presentation, or if you're attending or you are hosted a subject matter expert call or something, yes, you can use Microsoft Teams. You could transcribe it, which you'll touch after this. No, that was a separate call. So you could use Microsoft Teams or Zoom, put the video in, transcribe it, and then you can go to ChatGPT and ask it to create meeting minutes and notes. If you haven't done that, do it. It's amazing. I will show you, which we did today morning. But what this tool does is a lot more than that. Number one is, it helps you. Say, for example, you went for a customer briefing, and the customer said, here we go, guys, this is what we discussed, and the video is available online. You can go and do it. You go download it, add it to Descript. The other tools will only do transcribe. What Descript do, it will convert that into slides. So if you do need to go and present it to anybody, with few clicks, a few things. First, it will transcribe it very quickly. Second, it will also tell you what are the key points that you need to add it to it. Imagine if you are a person, a sales director, or a bid manager, or a proposal director, who have to go and give an update of, hey, what happened in this meeting? You have to sit and listen, take notes, and live notes, all gone. Just upload it and do it. We do it in podcasting, because obviously when you do the same thing in audio, if you're giving an update, sometimes during podcast, yes, I do miss 1 or 2 lines, or I do want to edit it. But sometimes the podcast is already recorded, so I can't do much. But if I need to add a filler, in the past, I need to go and add the filler, and I need to add it in. Now I don't need to. As you can see here with the AI voice, Descript already get used to my voice, which means if I just add a text to it in 22.17, can you just add this question, which is like, how did you go through this challenge? It will add it in my own voice, because it's already has done it, which means I now don't need to do that, because in the podcasting side is this screen recording and other stuff is fairly simple. And the other ones is, this also helps you if you have a massive video, if you want to slice and dice it, it also create clips. So it's all in one. But most important thing is, it also helps you to share it in both document type, which is Word, and also on slides. So very, very good tool. And we'll do a 1 hour, what we call deep dive on this coming up. So some of you were asking last time, okay, we know Microsoft Copilot, and there are lots of Word, Bing chat is connected already to OpenAI, etc. What's happening with Sheets and Docs? I don't use Microsoft products. I use this. This is a good tool, GPT for Sheets and Docs. It's free plugin that you could go, and it's a Chrome extension. You can just go click it. And then you can just use ChatGPT directly within your Google Docs and Sheets. You can use it to calculate, very much like how you can use it to Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word at the moment. You can use it to plugins when the actual tools are going to be integrated with Copilot when it comes through. Then you don't need these plugins. But Chrome, for now, GPT for Sheets and Docs are available. But the exciting thing is, yesterday they announced the Bard is moved from waiting list, and a much smarter Bard is now live. So again, anybody using Bard at the moment, I think in the past it got discarded because it made a lot of error. Because secondly, it went overly ethical, which means any question that you ask, it just straight away said no, I'm not going to answer that. But now I think it's a smarter Bard. They just announced it yesterday. So what that meant is you don't need this chat Chrome extensions, but very soon there will be going Google extensions with Bard itself. So what that meant is you can use ChatGPT, but if Bard is already smarter, this is going to help you to do Google Sheets maps. But there are two big things that's going to make Bard take on ChatGPT big time. Number one is when you search in Bard going forward, the challenge with ChatGPT, as you found, is when you ask for, okay, you are telling me all this good stuff, what proof do you have, what evidence, show me the links. ChatGPT scratches its head and tells you, this could be the one, go check. But when you check it, it won't be there. Whereas Google, for 20 years, they have been as a monopoly on the website. It will give you the links relevant to what it writes. So for example, if you're using any research work, using Bard to do it, if you ask for sources, Google will give you the links. And those links, because it's already has enough crunching, because we do marketing analytics a lot of times, we are super excited about this because Google now can show you the links. That was an issue with ChatGPT, with facts and links. And now Google is going to take them on that one. That's their sweet spot, or that's their strength. The second one is, while Bing image generator is there, DALL-E that we looked at last time, and we also had a look at what we called ChatGPT and stuff. Google is going multimodal, which means when you ask for text information, it can also pick up relevant images for you. So, for example, if you're working on a bed that says, "Hey, I'm building. I just want to know how to maintain the lift of this building." It not only writes it, it also gives you relevant image that's relevant to your particular text. So it goes on two ways. So that's multimodal for you. So again, things are moving so fast, and this is where it's one by one it's going to come in. The people asked me what we talked about Quillbot, which we use to normalize content, and we also talked about what's the other one? WordTune, both are free. WordTune, go and check. Again, those two are just little dots that will stand next to you, and then when you're typing it, it automatically checks, oh, you know what, you don't need to. It's like a mini Grammarly, but much more useful. So that's one. So what this tool do, you have two things here. One is on the side, you have something called the Cider. Cider is a Google plugin. So it's like a Chrome plugin, which again is powered by ChatGPT. What it does is super clever. So when you go into a website, say in this case, I just went and checked Compose AI because I just want to show you Compose AI. Cider immediately start to give me information, because here in the website, all I'm going to check is Compose AI website. But look here, it immediately tells me what Cider is, what are the different links I need to go for. So when you have the Cider open, any website you go, it automatically summarizes what this website about on the site. It's super cool. It's simple. And then you could ask any questions about that site in ChatGPT live there. You don't need to open ChatGPT. You can just use it. A very, very cool tool. Compose AI, we use it for emails. So a couple of things. Number one is this. You can use it to just say, okay, there is a prompt. In the previous session, boot camps, we normally do a live demonstration, but here we can do it after the class so that we are not wasting time. So primarily, you could use Compose AI, number one, to just say, hey, as it says, I want to send an email to my students saying you need to continue to self-discover what AI is for you. It just writes it. I don't need to go into ChatGPT to do the prompt because this is automatic. This is again a Google tool. If you have Google Mails and stuff, gold. It automatically, you can go in and say, hey, write an email to my students, saying, go self-discover, don't give up, just keep going. It just writes it for you. You don't need to go to ChatGPT, it just writes it for you, then you go. The second one is, again, I'll show that in the demonstration after the call, is when you receive an email, you normally have three things. Number one is you agree, which is yes. Number two is you say no. And the third one is thank you. Most of the time, most of the emails we receive is fitting into these buckets. So this one automatically stands next to your inbox. And then it just tells you, what do you want me to do for this email? Yes, no, thank you. If you say yes, it automatically responds yes and say, yeah, thank you for sharing this. Yes, I'm available, because it has access to your diary. It also gives you options for your meeting. How cool is that? And no, I'm busy, I'm not available. It does this. Again, AI, don't just use it. We'll be having 15 productivity hacks workshop where I'll go through this. Again, this is a cool one. So you can use it to write emails. You don't need to go outside. You could use it to write emails, and you could also use it to respond to emails in seconds. So it's like this. So this. And secondly, you can also, some people are notorious for sending a long email. The moment you saw that, you are like, oh my God, I'm not even going to read this. How many of you have the feeling, right? So especially when you have a legal summary or a terms and conditions definition of some operational detail, you can simply use it to say, yes, it's an email, but can you at least explain it to me in small lines? This one nicely does it for explain. Okay, this is an email. It just says, Bhaskar just talks about his new course, proposal mastery, and there's only 12 spots remaining, etc. So you don't need to read the email. You can just click that one button. It tells you explain this email, and it just gives you a quick summary of the email, especially if the email is very long. So small, quick tool. And this is the thing that I told you. An email comes up, yes, say yes, no, thanks. You just click yes, and you just go on. Sometimes if it's out of office, you just go with that. So it's the other one. Before I continue, so it's GLASP. I don't know how many of you have used YouTube. So you like to, again, it's the same story, right? You are not using Descript. It's too much of work for you. Your client has already uploaded a document in YouTube saying, watch this. Or you find some interesting presentation about your prospect in there. What GLASP does is this. This is our website. So Master AI Prompt Engineering Workshop is there. Sorry, it's the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. You could go and see that. But it's 1 hour, 10 minutes or 1 hour, 20 minutes of talk. It's like, but if I manually need to go and write transcript, I'm going to take a long time. Similarly for you, right? You just want to know, even for this webinar, if you want to go and revisit this, you want to know, hey, he talked about AI regulation somewhere. Where is it? Hey, he talked about that tool. Where is the tool? This automatically does it for you. So go find this, GLASP. It's a Google Chrome extension. Once you add it, any YouTube you watch, it just gives you bingo, every single thing. But if you're a bad speaker like me, it also embarrasses you because as you can see here on the side, whatever I spoke, it just pulls up transcripts in a totally odd way. But if you're a good speaker, then obviously it also means that your transcript is very clear. So try GLASP, because reason for this is it's cut down so many stuff. You don't need to listen or watch or do a lot of content. It just transcribes and tells you, hey, this is the important points. Then you could simply copy paste this, put that in ChatGPT. Can you summarize this in a little bit more, or make the notes clear, and it goes from there. That's it. You'll also be pleased to know the AI which is attending this meeting is Mr. Firefly. Yes. So Firefly is an AI. It's a brilliant tool which we use it. What Firefly does is, this meeting that I'm talking about, right? I'm doing this webinar. Firefly automatically connects to my diary because it's there, part of my AI, and it joins every meeting as an attendee. And it listens to the conversation, and then it goes through the meeting, and then it tells me how many times I did X, how many times I did, what are the different discussions, is there any follow-up actions, what are the different things. It just tells you. So it just connects to your diary. This is the default setting, and it's actually listening this meeting as we speak. So Firefly will join. You can join all the calls. You can join this if you are running your own company. If you have a flexible IT, I can do this, and you could just go, and it tells you, okay, when you join in, it just tells you, hey, you can either add Fred at Fireflies to your calendar invite, or it automatically joins the meeting, so, and it tells you, hey, these are the 2 meetings I can already get access to, and it joins. Or you could just invite part of the meeting, you can invite and it comes in. The best part of that is this. Once the meeting finishes, you can look into the meeting and ask Fred, or you can ask Fred, how many people attended this meeting? How many people asked the questions? What's the action? What did I promise? Who did I promise I'll send this email to? Especially if there is a quiz and if there is a winner before we need to go, it will answer you every single thing about the meeting. How cool is that? Anybody like this tool? So it's amazing. I mean, like it's so the world of AI is not restricted to writing, because you have to think it much broader. So when we optimize AI, we are not looking at, hey, here we go, give us a 100-page document and we'll do it. You need to look at it every level. If you attend the past webinars, you'll also see a lot more stuff that we covered. But more and more tools does more and more interesting things. For a corporate environment, people ask us, I know, even though I say first you need to train yourself, then you need to share it with your team, to create some basic optimized process. Then you need to go for the tool. People ask us, hey, we want to see the API code. So here is the people who ask for the API code. You can just access to the API code, and then you could just add, you could create an instance. And then once you add the instance of ChatGPT, then you could go back and instruct it to do a few things. So in this case, when we work with the healthcare people, we are just checking, it's a dummy data, but it just asks, we can just add the information and then say, okay, this is the document. Can you use this document and then see what is the document about? And you could add questions and it starts the answer. So what happens here is, you are not working through a web portal called Open AI or ChatGPT or Open AI. You're directly taking the API. You are creating that instance for your own company, and you are just giving it just directly to the API, which is not shared to anybody, and you can just work with it. Most of the enterprise LLMs, this is what we do, but we also do that, but that's the last thing we want to talk about. The very first thing is we just want to open the world of AI to you, so that you start to enjoy yourself, explore the different advocates, and then gradually we can start to talk about these technical elements. And also these things, different people ask us what different models we use. You can use an in-house model where, you already know what you're doing. Your IT team has a lot of data scientists. What can we do? Second one is, okay, it's simply do it yourself, do it with you. We'll do it for you, just 3 different models. So then, again, one of the things that you need to be very, very careful is if you do consider going for these tools, especially the LLMs, on your own, because if people get excited, yeah, I'm going to get these things, this is the caveat. I want you to go and search this hidden technical debt in ML systems. What it tells you is, you need to first have a sound data, right? Second, you have to have enough computing power, and then an execution environment. The reason these big players are investing on that is they have big pockets. The other people who are going to use this and go for it, because it's going to be, when they start, it will all be cool. But once you start to crunch the data, the amount of money you need to pay in the server cost, in the data maintenance cost, in X, Y, Z cost, etc., then you compare that to cost of a big person, and be like, oh my God, I'm more than happy to get 5 people to do that. But the trouble is AI learns, and it has a lot more knowledge, connects to a lot of data points, it can do a lot of things. So, and that's the caveat. And also scalability depends on how often you're going to use it. And for small tasks is good. That's why I'm pushing more and more, just use the basic version, free version, upgrade to $20 version, use ChatGPT or Bard, test it, do it, what it helps to you, then see how it helps your company before you even go for any enterprise LLM, because it's like otherwise you're going to go blunt and you are not going to use the best of the enterprise LLMs because you are not ready anyway. And it's going to take a long time. Then for no reason, you're going to blame the enterprise LLM tools that says, hey, that's not fit in it, or we just wasted money and so. So it just comes up. You just need to do it gradually. So again, What we also find it is, there are some good people and there are some bad people. Obviously, when I say bad people, it's survival of the fittest, right? Suddenly this has come in and this is crashing a lot of people. And many tech companies who have built this suddenly are scratching their head and said, and they only have three choices. One is, yeah, we are going along with this, but underlying motive is, oh my God, we just need to protect our interest, which means they are going to softly land what we call fear mongering, which we know that's been happening, and the other one is, what we are also finding more and more is some sort of bias discussion. Guys, it's fine. Everybody will benefit out of AI. There is enough fish in the pond, so there's no point trying to say, all these things and downplaying the capabilities and highlighting limitations, discouraging people. You don't need to. It's all going to happen. And again, it's there. I'm not going to overly say, because yes, it also happens when you find more freelancers, consultancy companies, etc. You can do a lot more for less, but what that meant is you can't just keep sending people at a day rate and charging them extortionate amount of something that now AI can do at a fraction of a second, right? So again, everybody needs to adopt, because we people have less money now, but they want to do more, and everybody will try to switch in. But the only thing that's stopping them is all these basic security questions, and that's get sorted very, very soon. But keep an eye and be very, very useful. And again, few people ask me that there are a few conferences coming up, and how can I get the best use of it? You just need to think from the conference people, right? They get sponsors on one end, and second, they have audience. Both of you have paid money, right? You have paid money to enter for the conference, and the sponsors have paid money to join the conference. And why sponsors do? Because they think that's the right place for them to see you, meet you, the right clients for them. But it's a delicate stance. You just need to strike a balance. But again, what I would say, this is, if you have any session that tells you about this is not going to work, this is the best way to go forward, etc., just ask yourself who benefits from this narrative. Are the speakers representing a company, or is there any potential conflicts? They're standing there. Is there anything between the conference provider to them, or is there anything between the conference and you guys? Just think it through before you do it. But the most important thing is you are there, you to meet your friends, because knowledge, that's second. You just go there, meet your friends, and you do what you're doing. But remember, it's happening very fast. Remember the lost bidders on the beach story. People will react quickly. Some people are slow, but they'll be going defensive. Some people, they don't want to accept things are changing. So it's all gonna do. So I just want to say that, because few people asked me about it. And the announcement, we just want to do it as soft landing, because we are now carving out more and more. People have asked to, hey, now with AI, can you do writer training? Yes, we are launching it. Because of the fast, we initially thought we'll do it in 3 years of training 1,000 people. Now we are accelerating to 2 years because of things that's moving on. Agency training, people are now coming back to say, hey, if I'm starting my my agency from scratch, my freelancing profession from scratch with the AI, how am I going to do that? Again, we have been doing the agency training. Second one is proposal mastery, which launches next week. It's very popular in the US. So, but the timeline, we try to accommodate everybody in one timeline. And I know the Californian people got really upset. Sorry about that. So yeah, after this, we have like 4 places left or something. But after the 16th May, 19th May, which is going to happen in the next week, we will be carving that out as for the countries or for the geographies. In that way, it works on specific time zone. So that's one. The IT teams have come back. We are getting a lot of calls. And again, it's a challenge for you as well to just explain, hey, I really want to use AI, but I don't know. I can't convince my company. I can't do that. So we are just starting what we call specific training, like AI governance, data governance, AI infrastructure training, etc., specific for the IT crew and the risk and the people, just so that they could, yes, it's important, but how you can bring this together. Boot camps will continue. But head of bidding bootcamp will be launched soon, which is straight after June. We are launching that. What that meant is so many things have changed, and so many leaders have like, okay, how am I going to manage my virtual teams? There are lots of things, and now with AI stuff, how can I influence my company more? How can I ensure that sales plus bids plus operations comes together? So head of bidding bootcamp will begin, starting with just 12 places. Again, we believe it's going to be mostly taken up by US colleagues, but we'll just see how it goes. Custom AI, just today morning also we received custom AI request from a big tech companies, which is like, how can you introduce AI to our company just from the training perspective? And then we'll just gradually build from there. The same point that I talked about. First you train, then you share, then you process, then you bring for the tool, which meant we just need to tell all our loved ones, we are going to do our API only from September, because we need to align that with Open AI's enterprise version with Copilot and stuff. And that meant it's going to be amazing. Like, when you have meetings, then you have a Word document, when you have PowerPoint, but everything is powered by Charge. It's a very different world. You can only imagine now, but we'll just go from there. So free resources are there for you anyway, but no, that's it. Go and do it. But because it's mental health awareness thing, this is our Big Buddy journal, which we published in 2016. We use it as a performance management tool. And it was only available on printed version. It was only $15 or £12.50 or something in the UK, and in the US, $15. People use it to manage their teams. It lasts for a quarter, where every day people write it. And what we have done is we have converted that into an editable PDF. So you don't need to buy it. It's there. If you inside our Circle platform, it's there. You could go download it. And simply on a day-to-day basis, you can use it. Because what we use AI much more is for the self-care thing. Okay, it has saved my time. It has helped me to do this. I'm doing X, Y, Z. So this becomes a nice journal for you. And for mental health awareness, we thought we'll do that. And so it's there. And again, all the boot camps, all the content are available in our academy. So if you are not part of the academy, it's just $25 a month or $199. For enterprise, it's like $2,000 for up to 50 people. So you can just put all your people in, 300 hours of learning, let them go, and happy days, just do what it takes. But every time when we do it, we just update the content as well. We just want to keep that going as we speak. If you're not part of it, just a little bit more, like not free, but $25. It's there. Proposal Mastery Series, we already talked about it. Again, that 20 books, 20 byte courses that we created, where people ask general question about what's the generation, what a generative AI, what are this, how can I use it for Excel, etc., etc. There are like 20 byte courses that we created. It's all there, which we give it for free. I think the different content here is based on our understanding. But again, as people who joined our bootcamp know, we also have a lot of bonus content that we go for. Again, these are the different frequently asked questions that we receive, and we are going to go. So there will be 2 prompt workshops. One is foundation and advanced. Otherwise, it's much more revolves around and this mid-journey, but we'll also have 3 or 4 other specialist tools that we are going to go deep dive on that as well. Again, there are a lot of people who are looking for jobs, so we are just keeping it $195 for job seekers or people from economic regions, and for US it's $495. That's it. But a lot more people from the US seems to like this. So that's where we are. You can find it in live workshop. Bootcamp will continue. We ending the first bootcamp. You'll see who the inaugural AI bootcamp attendees are. These are the people who believed in our message and who joined in very early on. And you can see the massive impact that they have created within their organization. One company invested 12 people. They're just so curious. They just did it. And then the others have stepped in. 3, 4 agencies have got it. And others are mostly companies, leaders, mainly head of leaders, proposed leaders, vice presidents, etc., were part of it. So again, a lot more feedback from them. And that's why we are going to go with June, not just on 8 weeks, but for 6 weeks. So that's a typo there. 6 weeks, and that's there also. It's there. It's slightly paced out. So it happens it happens twice a week, but it's 1.5 hours. It's a lot, 30 hours, whereas this one is happening over 4 half days. Very intense, pretty crash course, just take everything. But the best thing is anybody who joins this, and that we'll always invite you when we update the content anyway. So my advice is continue to learn, continue to do what you're doing. But you know what, if you are having doubts, just send us your RFP and ITT, and we'll just have a look and say how you can just strip it in the quickest possible time, and you go and do it yourself. It's perfectly fine. So it's not going to take a lot of time, but if you want any guidance, say I have this, especially commercial bidding, you should be up for it. Federal government and stuff I can understand, or UK government and stuff I can understand, but even then we have both UK Gov and the people who are bidding for it are actually actively looking into ways to improve. They're also using it. So just be open. But again, many of your competitors are starting to use it. So now is the time for you to influence your company and to improve you. Otherwise, we are good. And people always ask me to tell a story. I'm not sure we have time for this. The reason for this tiger and deer story is, once there was a tiger which gave birth to its own children, and then there was a deer which also gave birth to its own children at the same time. So both the tiger and the deer, they went for food. So the tiger found the deer and it hunted the deer and it killed the deer. So the question is, who's wrong? Is it the deer's fault to go in search of food when it knows that the tiger is nearby? Or it's the tiger's fault because the tiger should not have killed the deer because it has food? Third, it's nobody's fault because it's part of life. Or four, the answer is, I have no idea what you're talking about. So the AI situation is more or less like that. You can't take a position of tiger is right, deer is right, or nobody is right, nobody is wrong. The answer at this stage is, I don't know. So if you wait for people to give you clarity on what's happening, you will be pretty much at the very end. So my little nudge part of the tiger deer story is, yes, you don't have the full clarity of what's going to happen. That doesn't mean you need to wait to take the first step, right? Because it's super easy for you to do that. So that's me wrapping up today. And I'll stand by after this. If you want me to show anything, any questions, etc., as always, I'll do that. But otherwise, I'll see you on the 8th of June. If not, I'll see you in either mastery classes or the boot camps. But the recording will be up in our website, in our YouTube channel in 48 hours. Follow Scribble, LinkedIn, or anything. A lot of content in there. But otherwise, I'll see you June the 8th or in anything else. So that's the connect. If you're free, join in. That's where we post all the updates even before it comes live. That's it from me. Any questions? I'm up for it. Thank you. And thank you for joining. And all the people who are going to watch the recording, thank you for joining. Let me stop the